Let's say you're using these Terraform files as a base. You have installed this, your Baserow instance is fully working as expected. One of the things you're probably going to run into within 6 weeks after you deployed it is, hey, Baserow launched a new version. Now I need to update my instance to that version. And what kind of moving parts are all related to that? So that's what I want to show you. So where do we first start? I open my browser here. One of the first things that I need to do is authenticate with AWS, right? You would need to have access to this environment. You would need to have administrator access. I have that luckily, and I'm already signed in. But using the start URL you have from AWS, you can get to this point. In order to actually connect with the environment or with the Kubernetes cluster in this case, you would need to use the VPN to make a connection. So what you would do from here is you go to VPC. From here, there should be like a part about the VPN. Client VPN endpoints, if I'm not mistaken. From here, you can download the client configuration. This is something that I have already done. So if you download the AWS VPN client, I've already added this one here. This is like the configuration that you download here. You can very easily import it here by clicking on managing profiles. You can connect to that instance. Okay, cool. I don't have to log in. And then the VPN is going to connect. So let's give that a second to connect. Perfect, now it's connected. And so what you would do next is probably you want to log in to AWS using the same account. I've already configured all of that. So I just need to run the login command in order to gain access. And in order to access the Kubernetes cluster, I've prepared this command because I also don't know them all out of the top of my head. But what this basically does, you have like Kubernetes client and everything installed on your machine. And if you run this command, it's like an AWS CLI command. It will add the Kubernetes context information to the configuration file of your Kubernetes client. So if I do that, I can then after that, I can verify if I have selected the right context, which in this case it is. And because I'm connected to the VPN client, I should be able to access the Kubernetes cluster, right? It works. I can list all the namespaces here. And this basically comes from the whole environment that was set up using Terraform, right? So if you just set it up and you connect to the Kubernetes cluster that was created, you should be able to get the same thing here. What I want to do is, this is the namespace where everything is happening in. So if I list all the pods that we have here, then you would actually start to see all the application components that Yuri was talking about. So it's the ASGI workers, the WSGI workers, the salary workers, and everything that's in here. I don't want to focus too much on the pods because Yuri has already explained that. But what I do want to do here is I want to do a quick check to see which Baserow version am I running here. So I should be able to do something like my Baserow, describe pod, to grab and show which image this is actually running. So this image is 35.0. We already have 35.1. So I want to do this update now. So it should be really straightforward. So if you go back to your Kubernetes values file, from here, I would just change the version number that I want to update to. And from there, I should be able to just run like a Terraform apply. So I would need to run some steps first. I would need to make sure that it's using the right AWS profile. I've checked out the repository. I've already run a Terraform in it, so I don't have to do that again. But what I want to do is run like Terraform plan to see, okay, what do we currently have deployed and what are the changes that it's going to make? So give this 1 second for it to complete. Okay, so it's only going to say, okay, we're going to change some Kubernetes configuration files here. This is looking good. I pre-checked that already. So I'm gonna run Terraform apply, which is gonna run the same check, which would have been more efficient if I just ran apply. but better to be safe. From here, it's going to run the same check, and then I'm going to confirm that it can actually run make those changes. So I'm going to hit yes. Okay, so now it's going to apply the Kubernetes configuration onto the Baserow cluster. So what I'm going to do is get all the pods, give it a second, and now we see this migrate pod coming up, right? So this is all happening under the hood. You don't have to do this. You just change the version number. And then when the deployment process starts, it's actually going to start this migrate command. This migrate command, it runs database migrations, it clears some caches, it makes sure base row formulas that are going to be updated. And once this is completed, then it's going to update all the applications that are running. So all the services are now going to be updated without any downtime. So if you update from one base row version and you don't skip any versions in between, so it's going from 1.34 to 1.35, you should be able to deploy that without any downtime because we're building like the database migrations with zero downtime. So we can first execute them and then update the application without resulting in any errors or without things actually breaking. So this is quite fast. And what we can see is that the pods have already restarted. And if I would do a describe on the image right now, now it says, okay, it's actually running this version. And if I would open the instance here in my browser, let me refresh this page. It might take a second to load from here. And now I would go to the Baserow admin, select the settings. It now shows that we're actually running that Baserow version. So that's pretty straightforward.